Hey guys, welcome back. In this video series, I'm going to show you how I took this house, split it into a duplex, and did a full renovation on both units. I took it from looking like this to looking like this. I hope you enjoy it.
So I started by tearing out the old countertops and cabinets. The flooring in the kitchen was a lot higher than the hardwood flooring in the rest of the house, so I decided to tear it back down to the subfloor. And surprise, surprise, there was about 6 layers of flooring in the kitchen. The existing subfloor was 1/2 inch plywood, so I decided to add some 3/4 inch OSB to help strengthen the floor. So here I am using some PL construction adhesive and of course a lot of screws to attach the new subfloor. So I actually decided I was going to move where the register was in the floor. The wall parallel to the register is going to be removed to help open up the living room and kitchen. And I didn't want the register right in the middle of where people were going to walk. So I decided to move it closer to the side of the room. It was pretty cool to see how open the space became once I took out this wall. The point of buying this house was to split into a duplex, so I added a wall inside the kitchen. That way we can have a shared back entrance which split off and go downstairs to the basement unit and then through a door into the kitchen of the upstairs unit. You can see here right beside the door is a little laundry closet, which I'm going to have a stacked washer and dryer for the upstairs unit. Because I was adding a new plumbing drain, I had to add a 2-inch vent which would extend up through the floor and out the roof. And you can see here that I drilled some holes through the wall and then came up with a pretty cool idea of how I could make sure I drilled the hole in the roof in the perfect spot. What I did was I attached a screw at the end of a piece of 2x2 piece of wood, at a really sharp angle, and that way I could stick the piece of wood up through the hole I had drilled and slowly screw it. Then I went to the top of the roof and I was able to see where the screw poked out of the shingles. And from there I was able to cut and install my the pieces on the roof, and that ensured that the top of my plumbing stack was perfectly in line where I drilled the holes that went through the wall below. So once I was done adding the plumbing for the washer, it was time to add the electrical. So just a 15 amp circuit for the washer, and then for the dryer, I use 10 gauge wire, and that will use a 30 amp 2-pole breaker. And while I was doing electrical for that, I also added a few more kitchen outlets and added a few different circuits just to make sure everything was brought up to code. What I'm installing here is the dedicated circuit for the dishwasher. I also went ahead and added another 4 LED lights into the ceiling, and this really helped brighten up the space. So all the wiring is done in the kitchen. So we have 12-2 wire. So this stuff is good for 20 amp circuit, and this is for coming up from the panel, and then this yellow cable goes down, across, and runs to this panel here, or sorry, this outlet here. And then again, we have from the panel downstairs, up here, one 20 gauge line, and then that runs back down to right there. And the idea is on this one and this one, which are the start, like the first outlet in the series, that's going to be GFCI protected, that's going to be GFCI protected, and then everything downstream, so that outlet and that outlet are also going to be GFCI protected. We're having the stove right here, so you can see we have wired in the outlet for the stove. That is some very thick 8 gauge wire. And then up top above the stove, we have the microwave. So this is just normal 14-2 wire for 15 amp circuit. We also have a dedicated outlet for the fridge, which will be right here. And in the laundry room here, we have the 30 amp circuit for the dryer. So this is 10 gauge wire. And the reason why this wire is armored and everything else isn't, normally armored you need for commercial. One of my friends had some of this, and instead of me buying a whole reel, he just let me use a few meters of it, and we're all good there. So I accidentally screwed into my plumbing pipe here. So to fix it, all I did was I cut a little piece of pipe off, of PVC pipe. I used a bunch of glue and then kind of crimped it onto the existing pipe. You can see here I'm in the back shared entrance, putting up the drywall, and inside the walls I've put mineral wool. And this not only helps with soundproofing between rooms, but it's also fireproof, or fire resistant. So mudding and taping was actually a pretty fun step. Putting on the corner beads, doing all the taping in the corners along the seams. But definitely a steep learning curve. And the nice thing about this area is a lot of it will be hidden behind kitchen cupboards, appliances, so definitely a good spot to practice and learn. So after all the mudding, taping, and sanding, it was time for paint. So primed the new drywall a few times. I really enjoyed painting. It's pretty amazing what a fresh coat of paint can do to a space, as you'll see here shortly. The kitchen and shared back entrance floor, I used a peel and stick tile. These were affordable, incredibly durable, and super easy to install. This hole I'm cutting here is for the microwave, so that it can vent, all the steam or fumes from above the range directly outside. So this machine here is pretty cool. It's taking a bunch of measurements along the back where the countertop is going to be, and that way if there's little imperfections or my wall is at a square, the countertop will still fit perfectly. I decided to go with a granite countertop just because this will be a rental and granite is pretty durable and inexpensive. Oh, so these are like suctions and then you pull it together so that...
Yes.
Okay, and you put something in there. Okay, I see.
Epoxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put epoxy, this one.
So you mix that yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit for the second coat.
Okay, for the color match.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Now what's it?
Okay. So you just put this like on top of the sink
I can leave it.
and suction up and it'll hold it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I put stick just to make sure it's not enough. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry again. Don't shake it.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe.
So a little bit of a tight fit once the washer dryer is inside the closet, plus the venting. So in the future, I'll make sure to leave a little bit more space or at least have access from the side because yeah, putting this in was a little bit annoying. Installing the kick plates here, and it's just a pretty neat system. It has these little brackets which you just screw onto the kick plate, and these clip onto the legs of the cabinet here. As you can see, I already have one on, and you basically push it and it'll click into place just like that, and hold the kick plate in place. So here I am using a little jig I made to drill the holes for the cabinet handles. And this was pretty much the last step before the unit was ready to be rented out. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. The next videos in this series will show how I transformed the basement into another unit. This was all done legally with permits, inspections. So follow along and I'll show how I renovated the basement.